Sheriff Neil Williamson said recently the war on drugs is a failure. How much effort will you expend against the recreational use of drugs, specifically marijuana, and is that an efficient use of the department's resources?
The narcotics enforcement of the sheriff's office, I think, is well suited. It can be enhanced, obviously, and under my administration it will. We're going to be looking at collaborative efforts with the Springfield Police Department and the Illinois State Police, something that we kind of have the agency under the Sheriff Williamson's administration has kind of gotten away from. And I'm going to get back in that form of looking at what other agencies are doing and how we can collaborate with them, to include working with the Central Illinois Enforcement Group. It's a narcotics enforcement unit that works out of state police here in Springfield, and it's made up of local law enforcement officers. We used to have an officer assigned to that unit, and I'll be looking at the opportunity to reinstate that effort. Look, you need intelligence, you need a robust effort as far as narcotics enforcement goes, and at the end of the day, the sheriff's office enforces the laws on the books. We need to do a better job of working with our partners in law enforcement, to include, our federal partners who also are part of this collaborative effort at narcotics enforcement in our community. So the bottom line is we need to do a better job, and when I'm elected sheriff, I will. We're going to get more collaborative efforts. We're going to get more intelligence where we're looking at larger targets that are, that make our cost effectiveness of law enforcement as far as narcotics investigations better.
When the sitting sheriff says the war on drugs is a failure, do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
I don't agree with that. No, I think under my administration, it's not going to be a failure, not at all. I think that the men and women of the sheriff's office are doing a great job. I just propose that we can do a better job, and I think collaboration is a big piece of that. When we're looking at the intelligence efforts outside of the agency that bring in, okay, here's what's going on in your community and in the unincorporated areas, perhaps, that intelligence brings better efforts, better law enforcement strategies, and our command officers will also be scrutinized and will be looked at as in this performance stat briefings that we're going to be conducting every month, so I think it's important that we continue down the road that we are, and it's the efforts are not a failure. We're not losing the war on drugs. And we're not going to, under my administration, we're going to improve. So
I want to bring Wes Barr into this now. Wes Barr, again, your thoughts on the sheriff's comments that the war on drugs is a failure, and to what extent will you be using the department's resources to combat, in effect, the recreational use of drugs like marijuana?
Sure. Thanks, Jim. I don't believe that we have lost the war, against drugs. We have a drug response team right now called the DIRT team that most people are familiar with, and I support that. I supported bringing them back. I think they're doing a great job, and it's important that we take drugs and drug dealers off the street, especially for the hard drugs. Drug users, they're more likely to commit other crimes. That's why a lot of people that are currently in the jail are there because of either drug or alcohol-related addictions. And drugs ruin people's lives. They ruin the people that are doing the drugs' lives. They ruin families' lives, watching their loved ones go through this. Currently, minor amounts of marijuana, they are not arrested. The drug is usually confiscated, sent to the crime lab for analysis, reports written, and it's forwarded to the state attorney's office for them to determine whether they're going to file charges or not. And at that time, they usually issue them a notice to appear or a warrant for the arrest. Springfield Police currently has a system in place where if it's a minor amount of marijuana, they actually write them a city ordinance violation so that they're not in the criminal justice system. And if they want to contest that, then they go in front of an administrative judge with the city. So, I think we're already taking steps to make sure that people with minor amounts of marijuana that are not brought into the criminal system in the first place, or at least into the jail. And, I think that's the right move at this point in time. And we're going to enforce the laws as long as the laws are the way they're on the books. That's our job. We can't decide what laws we're going to enforce and what laws we're not going to enforce.